For more, we turn to Cassandra Fairbanks, who has been following Assange's story very closely from the beginning. Thank you so much for joining us. I know this has been a very busy and a tough day, both personally and professionally. 2 weeks ago, you visited Julian Assange in London. What was he like, and what was his conditions at that point?
Well, at that point, things were really bad. I had visited him previously, and it was friendly and welcoming, and it was slowly, degrading each time I visited. And this time, it was pretty openly hostile. He got into a huge fight with the Ecuadorian ambassador after they locked me in a room, a heavily surveilled room, and tried to force us to have our meeting in there. They wanted to search him and search his lawyer before they could come meet with me. None of these things had ever happened before, and to any guest, not just me, in almost 7 years that he's been there. So things had been rapidly degrading.
Well, it's interesting to watch him from the very beginning even to now, just the physical toll that he's changed with. Did he give you any sort of sense of how they treat him when people are not around and he's just there by himself?
Well, he wasn't permitted to talk to me privately without surveillance.
Was he worried about what he would say then? Was he worried if he said something?
I could overhear his conversation, and I told him I was going to report it. But what happened was he was shouting that he wanted to meet with me so that he could report on the illegal treatment that he was being, met with at the embassy, at the hands of the embassy. And he accused the ambassador of working with the U.S. government and said that they were conspiring with the U.S. against him. And these are the people who are supposed to be giving him asylum.
Right.
But, I mean, he did seem in good spirits in the few minutes that I did get to talk to him. He was still scrappy. They haven't broken his spirit. So
specific, food-wise, health-wise, what was the actual environment that he was in? Was it considered to be something? Was it like a prison cell, or was it like an embassy, a home?
It's like a prison with a kitchen.
Okay.
There is a kitchen that he can use that's a shared area, but I mean, they search his guests, they search his visitors. He's only allowed to meet with people in this one heavily surveilled room. If you try and leave that, they'll come yell at you now. That didn't used to be the case.
So it changed over the years of you meeting with him?
Just since Lenin Moreno became president.
Okay, so it has changed with the different president.
Yes.
Now, okay, let's talk about here at home. President Trump says he doesn't know anything about Wikileaks, despite what he did say on the campaign trail. Do you think that he's going to get involved with Assange and the DOJ? And what was Julian Assange's attitude regarding President Trump and the United States? Did he ever talk about them?
Well, he loves the United States. He isn't as happy with the U.S. government. He said, well, when I visited him in January, it was during the time when Trump was saying that he was going to pull out of Syria. Julian had told me that he was proud of him for that, and that there were a few things that he liked. There were some things he didn't like, but it was, pretty neutral. He didn't hate him by any means or love him by any means. But I'm worried that Trump is not going to get involved because I think that they've scared him.
Well, what are you worried about right now? As you've seen the events of today go in the future, where it's still kind of a question mark on the air of where he's going to end. What are you most concerned about for Julian right now?
I'm most concerned about him being extradited here.
What happens? What do you fear if he comes to the United States? Most people come here looking for freedom and safety, asylum.
Right. Well, that's not going to be the case. They spent $25 million at least on surveillance at the Ecuadorian embassy. They're not spending that kind of money for a 5-year sentence. I'm worried that if they get him here, I think that they're baiting him with a light sentence so that the courts, the UK courts, and his lawyers potentially will agree more easily to extradition. But then once he gets here, they're going to pile on the charges and do what they did to Chelsea Manning.
Well, that's the question right now. You're looking at that. One thing that he has remained is he's kept his sources. Do you think he would ever reveal his sources for any of these situations? This could all just go away almost for him if he would reveal his sources. Do you think he will ever do that? They'll ever be able to get them?
Well, in this case, they're going after him for the Manning leaks, so I don't know if that would even apply,
right. But
if so, I don't think that he would reveal his sources, because then it defeats the whole point of what he's been doing and what he's been going through. If he were to reveal his sources, name them at least.
Right.
Nobody would ever...
Even in exchange for a pardon from the president?
Well, if he did that, then nobody would ever trust WikiLeaks again, and then his whole fight would have been for nothing.
Okay, so then moving forward from this, I have to think, do we know everything, or is Julian Assange keeping stuff back sort of as an insurance policy to make sure that he is taken care of? Has he released everything he knows?
I doubt that. He has released some keys, potentially for a dead man's switch, and I think that if he's not treated well, there could be more shoes to drop.
Ultimately, right now in the media, he's being torn apart on both sides. So I just have to ask you, in your opinion, having met with him personally, knowing his professional work, is he a hero or is he a villain for freedom of the press?
I think he is the biggest hero of freedom of press. And I think that everybody needs to get on board.
Well, it will be interesting to see how this continues. And Cassandra, please keep us posted as you hear more and more about what's going on, anything that the public needs to know of. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.